Residents are now able to stay at home as crews made substantial progress over the weekend of containing the Boggsville fire. The Los Animas-Benton County Fire Protection District says the fire is now 80% contained. It's burned 1,030 acres. No structures were damaged, but officials say about 400 hay bales were lost. The fire jumped the Arkansas River on the north side, but crews were able to quickly suppress those flames. Crews are now dealing with hot spots, and officials say they'll continue to monitor the fire for the next few days.
The dangerous fire conditions this weekend prompted XL to call 200,000 customers across the metro area on Saturday with a recorded message warning that their equipment may stop working if the winds got too strong.
During this period of elevated wildfire risk, XL Energy will operate its electric system in some areas in a manner intended to decrease the risk of wildfire.
It's a robocall that probably made you pay attention. It was the first time this company has sent a message like this in Colorado. XL Energy's Colorado president says that they are taking steps to minimize the risk of wildfire being started by their own equipment by activating a sensor in electrical wires. So if something touches them, the current cuts off.
It becomes de-energized very quickly. So if a wire were to fall to the ground, it won't have current flowing through it, thereby mitigating the risk of it starting a fire.
The purpose of the call is to let you know your power could go out if conditions get bad. Kenny says XL is taking these steps in response to increased wildfire risk around the country. In Texas, crews are still working to put out the biggest wildfire in state history. At last check, the Smokehouse Creek fire just outside Amarillo is 15% contained. So far, it's burned more than 1 million acres. Two other fires nearby have burned 180,000 acres and are 60% contained. They don't know yet what started the fires, but say strong winds, dry grass, and warm temperatures fed them. The federal government is sending money, equipment, and staff to Texas to help out. Back here in Colorado, DMV offices throughout Denver will be closed a week at a time beginning today. Yeah, that's right. The rotating closures are part of the city's solution to help pay for the migrant crisis. Night reporter Janelle Finch joins us live from the main DMV office. And Janelle, there's a lot to keep track of here.
That's right. Here at the main office off of Tremont, this office is set to stay open and will not be a part of the rotating closures. But for all other locations, business is set to change in a couple of ways. In just the last week, we learned the city of Denver estimates helping migrants will cost $120 million. Today, DMV offices will close for a week at a time to start supporting this expense. Offices will also stop providing in-person vehicle registration, so registration renewals will now only be available through mail, online, or at DMV kiosks and grocery stores around the city. Mayor Johnson says these department cuts will support the more than 40,000 newcomers Denver has seen in the past year.
We will have to put everything on the table for how we adjust the types of services we provide for newcomers, the amount of newcomers that we can serve, and how we can make those services more and more cost effective every day.
The DMV isn't the only department making cuts. Parks and Rec has already scaled back due to budget cuts. They have shortened their recreation hours as well as reducing summer programming coming up this summer.
All right, Janelle, thank you.
It is now 7:06, and right now we could be less than an hour away from knowing the verdict on whether former President Donald Trump should be eligible for Colorado's primary ballot. The Supreme Court is announcing a ruling at 8 o'clock this morning, and politics guy Marcia Zellinger says it could be the decision on the Colorado ballot. It has been nearly a month since the Supreme Court heard arguments on this case, and if they announce a decision today, it would be just in time for Colorado's primary election. As of now, votes for Trump do count. We'll be keeping an eye on this all morning, and we'll keep you updated right here on 9 News and streaming on 9 News Plus.
New overnight, Nikki Haley won her first Republican primary election. She came out ahead of Trump in Washington, D.C. It is the first time Trump has not won a primary or caucus so far this year. Despite the fact that he has been so dominant, Haley has promised to campaign at least through Super Tuesday, which is tomorrow.
That is when Coloradans, along with voters from more than a dozen other states, will go to the polls. Polls will open up in just 24 hours, but a lot of voters have actually already casted their votes. Here in Colorado, we also have early voting, and the state says it's already received more than 830,000 ballots. If you haven't voted yet, it is too late to do it by mail, but you can still drop your ballot off in person. We have a guide to finding your closest drop box or polling center on our website, 9news.com. And we'll be watching how Colorado votes in Tuesday's presidential primary. We'll have complete coverage on air and online throughout the night.
Today, Vice President Kamala Harris will meet with a member of the Israeli Prime Minister's war cabinet. Harris is calling for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza. The vice president made the remarks while in Selma, Alabama over the weekend, marking 59 years since Bloody Sunday. She called the violence in Gaza, quote, a historic tragedy, and urged Israel and Hamas to agree to a ceasefire to let hostages out and aid come in.
Given the immense scale of suffering in Gaza, there must be an immediate ceasefire. This will get the hostages out and get a significant amount of aid in.
For the first time since this fighting started, the U.S. airdropped aid over Gaza over the weekend. 38,000 meals fell from the sky onto the coastline in Gaza. President Biden says that is not nearly enough and people in Gaza need more help. According to UNICEF, at least 10 children have died from malnutrition and dehydration.
In Washington, lawmakers are working on a new bill to send aid to Israel and Ukraine and make some changes to security at the U.S.-Mexico border. If approved, it would give the federal government the power to significantly restrict illegal migrant crossings at the U.S.-Mexico border. It would also send $60 billion to Ukraine and $14 billion to Israel, but the bill faces an uncertain future as it moves through Congress.
Congress has until Friday to pass 6 bills to avoid a partial government shutdown. The DOT and the FDA will run out of funding if they can't come to an agreement. But even after that, lawmakers will have to vote on another bill to fund the rest of the government. The deadline for that is March 22nd. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer is urging Democrats to get behind the bill, saying they'll only pass with bipartisan support.
In Colorado, some lawmakers say they plan to introduce a new legislation to license funeral professionals in our state. Right now, the industry is largely deregulated in Colorado and has been for decades. This came to light after law enforcement recovered nearly 200 bodies from the Return to Nature funeral home in Penrose. That was down in southern Colorado outside of Pueblo. Families thought their loved ones had been cremated or buried. The owners, John and Carrie Halford, are facing more than 200 charges at this time. More recently, Miles Harford was just arrested last month in the Denver metro area after investigators found a woman's body in a hearse at his rental home. They also found the cremains of at least 30 people. Harford owned Apollo Funeral and Cremation Services. Investigators say additional charges could be coming.